Hi, hello, how are you? Amanda, SEINT artist. We're gonna do our eyes today. I thought I did this the other day and it deserves its own video because it turned out so good. We're gonna do a sweet but deep, easy smoky eye. Let's get into it. We need our eyeshadow primer. Always. We're gonna press this out. I'm using my BK Beauty 203. It is linked. I like having a separate brush just for pressing out my primer and setting it. Getting into my eyeshadows. We're gonna go with Pup. It's a really nice, very light neutral brown. It works well with my skin tone. So pick a color that's really close to your natural skin tone. Next, Drift. We're gonna press this onto that brow bone. If you do this after you've done your eyes, it'll compromise your transition color and push your shadow down in a directional down, not color-wise, directional. Prep is done. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work on our transition shade. This is more of a peekaboo color. I think warm and cool go together like peanut butter and jelly. I love the way they look and it works well with my brown eyes. Let's work on our transition color. This is really important if you have hooded eyes or like me, it doesn't necessarily look hooded from this direction, but as I turn, I have a really heavy droop. And so the transition color helps give me some lift to my eye and it hides the fact that I have an outer hood. We're gonna get out of the weeds of it. I'm gonna take my eyeshadow brush and we're gonna go into the color Leo. So you want an orange tone like this. Love this color. This is probably my favorite eyeshadow transition color. We're gonna use a fluffy brush. You're gonna wanna hold it far away from the end you're using just for a lighter application. We're gonna buff this in and I'm gonna focus this with my eyes resting on this hood, on this heavy droop. And we're just gonna work this up and over. And this is why it's so important to do that drift shimmer first. We're gonna build this. We wanna see it, we wanna build it, and you wanna keep this really high up, almost to that brow bone. Do you see the pretty light, bright depth that it adds? And it helps hide that droop. And I pull mine out past the outer corner of my eye. You can see the definition of my eye here now that I've added it. It's so nice, but you really want to keep this above the crease on that brow bone and you want to build this up. Get the other side. Because I'm smoking with black on this look, I want to add a little bit of depth to my transition shade, Crimson. It's a really pretty orangey red brick color. We're going to go in on the small end of the eyeshadow brush. We're going to grab that on. And I'm gonna press this on the outer part at the base of my crease, the base of that brow bone. I'm holding it closer to the tip, and then we're gonna blend this outward. It can be fairly messy, but you want it to seamlessly blend into that upper Leo color so they fade into each other. What happens on the lid is, it doesn't matter. We're gonna be covering it up with black. Other eye. There's all sorts of liners out there. This one's my favorite. Maybelline Tattoo Studio. Get yourself a little mirror. What we're gonna start with is waterlining the top and the bottom, but stop when the lashes stop. We start out on this outer corner, pushing up on that waterline over, but don't draw past where the lashes stop. And then once you've waterlined, you're gonna press that into your lashes. It's okay if it transfers onto your lid. It helps. Get the bottom waterline and then bring them together and stop. Don't do the other eye. I'm gonna take SEINT's etch brush on the small end and I'm just gonna grab this waterline and I'm gonna smoke it down and I'm gonna lighten it and bring it down to my lash line, and you can smoke this as low as you want. It's entirely up to you. And because we're doing this first, all the cleanup can happen, all the fixing can happen when you do your makeup. Smoke that puppy out. If any transferred above the lash line, we're gonna grab it and buff it down. And it's okay if it looks bad. I'm just gonna add an upward motion and we're just blending this out. When you're doing this with an eyeliner, a lot of people put the eyeliner on their lid and then they start buffing it out. It makes it really uneven and it ends up creasing later. Using a shadow isn't gonna crease as much. The primer matters. And ta-da, let's go do the other eye. Doing your eyeliner one eye at a time gives it time to set, and then we can get into the shadow. I also feel when you put liner on the lid and you're smoking it out, it causes a lot of tug and pull on your lid, and we don't want to mature our lids too soon. I mean, if you're like me, I'm of an age. I'm 44. I don't need to give it any help. Salem. Don't get Black Friday. It doesn't set. Use this powder. Let your primer be your muscle. Going into Salem. Start at the base of the lashes and work our way up the lid to that crease. Lightly blend it towards the inner corner, but don't let it be heavy on that inner corner. It'll close your eye up. Going up into that crease. The brush you use, the density of the brush and the placement that you hold your brush really matters in your application. We're gonna lightly blend this into that crease and at the base of that outer brow bone. Grab that fluffy end. We're gonna blend these all together. Into the inner corner, let it be light, let the depth be on the outside, and then rest your eyes and make sure you can see that peekaboo of black to add that smokiness. Fluffy end. This is what's nice about a SEINT brush. It's double-ended, it flip-flops back and forth, so easy. Whatever's left on the end, you could just add to that smokiness if you want. So pretty. Let's do the other eye. I can actually close this one. When I'm blending with the fluffy brush, I'm bringing it outward and upward in this direction, and on this eye, this direction. So remember how I called it a sweet but deep? We're gonna add some of that sweet because we got the deep. Basic. It's a really soft brown that's gonna look gray. We're gonna use our finger. We're gonna tap this on the mid of the lid. See how it adds that dimension, but it keeps that black depth? Okay, now to make this magic all come together and not waste your time, I'm gonna go put the rest on. Just some mascara and then the rest of my face. And this is gonna come together, chef's kiss. And I know that because you're watching it. Otherwise it gets deleted. Magic of makeup. That's at the end. When you have a really bold eye like this, doing something really nice and subtle for your blush and for your lips is key. So keep everything else very, very neutral. I know we all want a lip. Go get yourself a nice, neutral, clear shimmer. I'm using SEINT's Diamonds Are Forever. It is so good. And it adds the softest little frost. Never underestimate really packing it on that Cupid's bow, keeping it neutral. That is your sweet but deep, easy smoky eye. Have a great day.